Hey YouTube, this is a follow-up video on the new Panasonic HCX1. My impressions of having it and using it for a little over a month and what I think about it. For the most part, I'm extremely happy with this camera. There's really not anything I don't like about it. I did a comparison video a while ago between my old Panasonic, the ACAG 160A, which was always like my go-to camera for weddings and things like that, but it was kind of big to carry around. So what I did was I also had a Sony NX100 that was like a little bit smaller than this, a little bit lighter, but really shines in low light. So I was like, well, I don't have a 4K camera. I had the JVC HM170 and it was just a piece of crap. I mean, there's a reason why it's like $12.95 at B&H and other places. It's just if you're gonna shoot in like tons of like outdoor, like lit up places, it's fine. But anything other than that, it's complete crap. The build quality is horrible. So I wanted to get a new 4K camera. So I sold that and I waited for this one to come out, and it's awesome. I mean, the build quality is super solid. It's heavy. Not like heavy enough where you can't carry it around with you all day. And it's not like you feel like if you the JVC if you dropped it, which you hopefully you don't drop any of your equipment, but if you did, you felt like that thing was just going to shatter. It just felt like very hollow. This is really hefty and it's got nice little touches on it. You know, when you're carrying it around, I carry it around a lot like this when I'm just getting there, and it's like got like a, I don't know if you can see, I'm just filming this on my tablet, but it's got like a textured grip here, which really helps like just hold on to it. And it's just like, I mean, this is heavy, but in a good way. It's solid. You know, I like that it has the lens hood built into it right here. I like that all your for your manual controls, you know, you actually just hit your button here and you use your knob here to kind of scroll through what you want, like your white balance, your gain, shutter, everything like that. And it's really nice. I'm not going to go through the menus and things like that. I already have a video out for that, but I just really wanted to give like my impressions of it, using it in the field. I filmed some recitals with it, some trade shows, things like that. I haven't did a wedding with it yet, which I'd like to do because I want to see how it matches up with my other Panasonic, the 160A, and I think it'll match up perfectly. They share a very similar profile, so that's another reason why I wanted another Panasonic. But video quality, I mean, very impressed. I think it does very well in low light. I think you can 12 dB to 15 is probably as high as I would probably bring it in low light, which is really good. I mean, you're not supposed to be shooting in complete darkness anyway, but there's always those times where you need to, like, you know, a reception at a wedding and stuff. But, you know, if you're doing weddings and things, you really should have a video light anyway. If you're looking for a good video light, I have a video on the one I bought. It's a Gen X-Ray, or I can't think of the name of it, but if you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see it. And apologize if you hear the jingling as usual. That's one of my dogs roaming around up here. But solidly, you can go up to 15 dB, and you're not going to see really any noise. I don't think a client or anyone would even mention it. I'm pretty OCD when it comes to things like that, and again, I feel that's a very safe range, is up to 15 dB. I try not to go higher than 12, but again, if you have to, I think that's a solid limit. It goes a lot higher, but I wouldn't bring it up that high. You know, it's easy to use. Going through the menus is very intuitive. I do like that the screen pops out like this. You know, some people might like it. They might think, is it flimsy? I mean, you're not going to be hanging from it or anything. I mean, I don't think it's any flimsier than the traditional ones that kind of fold out from this side here. So I like that when you're not using it, it just slides right in there, protects it. Some people I saw in the reviews on B&H, they complain that, you know, if your body gets in front of this, it turns the screen off, or vice versa. But if people actually read the manual right here, you push it 1 to 3 times for depending on how you want it. I believe one time it's just this is on, another time it's just this, or the other time it will go back and forth if your hand or body gets in front of it. I have it just off because 99.9% of the time I just use the LCD. But there's a time that I went out and filmed some nature things where it was bright out, where this was pretty much useless. So all I did was press this button and I was able to get to this right away. Now granted, it'd be nice to be able to have both on at the same time. Maybe in a firmware upgrade they'll fix that, but definitely not a deal breaker for me. So I mean, it's the button's right here. It's not that big of a deal. So I don't know. I don't really consider that a con. If you just gotta learn how to use the camera, and you'll see it, that button right there. And what's also nice too is like it's pretty robust. Like you see this like rubber here. Like again, I don't hope I ever drop anything, but you know, you never know. But I feel like this thing could take a beating, and it's not just gonna crack in half and be destroyed. So I think build quality, I give it like a 10 out of 10. I don't see any like flimsy parts on here. It's solid. It feels heavy. It's got a good weight to it. Not heavy enough where you're gonna get tired from carrying it around. But I did notice a big difference between this weight and my Sony NX100, which I absolutely love. It's interesting. I was carrying this around. You know, it's new. It's a new toy. Have fun with it. Bring it everywhere. Film. And I took out the NX100 to do something with it, and I was like, oh, wow. I mean, size-wise, this isn't a huge camera, but it's not super-duper small either, where the NX100 is like, wow, that's a lot smaller than this. I've owned a number of cameras, like the Canon XA10. You know, that thing, I mean, I thought that was a perfect-sized camera to carry around, but you don't get all these controls on the side. I mean, I know they're on the XA35 now, but size-wise, I mean, this is big, but not huge. My 160A from Panasonic, that's too big to carry around. I mean, you look like you belong on a news channel with it. I mean, if you want the attention, but it's too big to carry around. This is perfect. If it was a little lighter, yeah, it might be okay, but this is definitely, I'm not a big guy at all, and this is perfect for carrying around. I don't get tired. I mean, the 20 times zoom, awesome. I don't even do the, I think there's a digital zoom too if you want. I never use that. I just keep it to the optical. I mean, 20 is, that's good zoom. You can get in where you need to go. But audio wise too, you know, I have an external mic on here. I think this is, I don't know if this is my NG2 mic. I'd have to check, but I don't use the onboard mic here. I always use an external for my audio. But again, like visually, like the picture qualities are sharp, especially 1920 by 1080. When you're filming in 4K, I mean, you don't lose any of your picture, where I know the UX90 will kind of crop in a little bit, so you kind of lose a little bit of that wide angle. This is consistent. So whatever if you're filming in 1920 by 1080 and you switch over to 4K, it's going to be the same. You're not going to lose any of your area that you're trying to film. I like that it has a ton of assignable buttons. So I actually have one of mine set up too for if I want to do slow motion. I don't remember which one it is right now, but it's one of these. And I can go right to that, and then I can go back into my regular film. Now you can't do that as far as I know if you're in 4K and then you hit your button to go 1080p, like 30p slow-mo. You can't do that. But if you're filming in 1920 by 1080 and then you go back, you could go back and forth between it. I've done it before. So that works out good. And I thought the slow motion, there's a video of me with filming my dogs. I thought that came out really nice too. I would say the only thing that I wish was a little better, like a mode wise, is the night vision. Like there's again, I don't know if it's gimmicky or stuff, but when I had the Canon XA10, I thought that was really good quality, like night vision. This is kind of like, it's kind of like it's not great. I mean, you could use it if you had to, but I noticed it doesn't bounce off enough light, in my opinion. Though my room was actually pitch black when I was doing it, but I thought I had better results with the Canon XA10. Canon's like night vision, UV mode, whatever you want to call it, I think is better than on this one, but I don't hardly ever use it. For me, that was just more of a fun thing to have. So it's not bad. It's worse on the Sony NX100, but I think that if Canon, that's something Canon really has down well. If that's a mode that's important to you, you might want to look at a Canon. But otherwise, I haven't had any issues with it. I know there's a firmware upgrade out for it. I haven't had a chance to update it yet because I just haven't got around to it. But I don't even know if I'm going to update the firmware because the camera is giving me nice pictures that I'm happy with, and I'm always in the if it's not broke, why fix it? I don't want to try to bring in any more issues, but there is a firmware upgrade out for it, but I think it's for one of the profile modes. I don't know what it does. I just saw it online, but it's I think it's a solid camera. If you're looking for a 4K camera, it should be at your list. I mean, the fact that this does 4K 60p is pretty awesome. I mean, you figure you're future proofed with this camera. I mean, there's not going to be like an 80p or anything. I mean, even with HD, it's 1920 by 1080 60p. That was the pinnacle. This is 4K 60p. So it even does the 4096 by 3860 in 24p, which is your cinematic true 4K, not your ultra HD. It's like your true 4K. So this does that too. Where the other camera I was looking at before was at Sony Z150, that doesn't do. I don't believe it does the 4096 by 3860 or whatever it is, 24p. It just does the Ultra HD, but it doesn't even do it at 60p. It maxes out at 30p. So if you want codecs in modes that are future proof, I mean, this would be the camera. I don't know how many other cameras are on the market that do it. I know there's another Panasonic. I think it's the DVX 200, but that's quite a bit more. It's almost $1,000 more, and it's an older camera, so the technology in here is newer too. And everyone I've seen who's had this has been pretty happy with it, review wise. So if you see any reviews on this, the HCX1 or the UX180, it's the same camera. There's just like the gen lock is on the UX180, and there's one other thing, but it's more for external like hookups. Otherwise, they're exactly the same. So if you're trying to research cameras, definitely read reviews on the UX180. There's more reviews out for that one than there is for this one, the HCX1. So I just thought I'd give an impression video after having it for a little over a month. I absolutely love this camera. I would definitely recommend it. It's been robust. Very happy with the results. I think you should definitely consider it if you're looking for a 4K camera and future proof. B&H is always good too. I mean, I want to give them a shout out too. I get all my equipment from them, and their return policies are great. My first one had issues. I don't know if it was issue. Again, it was my OCD, but I felt like the servo motor was kind of loud. So when this came out the first week, I sent it back, and they sent me a new one. And it was really like hassle-free, no questions asked. Like, okay, we'll get your new one out when we get your old one back. So, great place to shop, B&H. Customer service is great. Return policy is great, and you're allowed to use these cameras for like 30 days. They don't put an hour limit either. So if it's something you're interested in, I would consider buying it from them. But anyway, I'm not going to say anything more. Hope you enjoyed this little kind of follow-up review on it. Hope you find it helpful. Great camera, and you'll definitely be seeing some more footage from me in the future with this camera. Thanks for watching.